Let's take you through this Iraqi team called Neo Cyber, which carried out the cyber operations targeting the several Israeli websites that spanned across the Israeli government and healthcare. More than 25 Israeli websites have in fact been targeted by the group, and this is the message, or rather the notification, that they've received across websites within the Israeli government and the healthcare system. You have been hacked by the Fatemion team. That is the message that's been received across different groups within the Israeli government. Now, we at News9 continue to look at the various possibilities of the execution of such a massive pager explosion. How was it carried out? That is the focus of the hour as investigations also continue. The Israeli military said on Tuesday that senior commanders, including Chief of Staff General Herzi Halevi, had held a situational assessment focusing on readiness in both offense and defense in all arenas, without giving details. Now, it is said that there was no change in the instructions to civilians, but they added that the public are being asked to remain alert and vigilant, and any change in policy will be updated immediately. Militant group Hezbollah promised to retaliate against the Israeli forces after accusing it of detonating the pagers across Lebanon on Tuesday, killing 11 people and wounding more than 2,700, almost around 3,000 people, who included fighters and Iran's envoy to Beirut. Hezbollah said that Israel would in fact receive its fair punishment for the blasts. Israeli military, which has been engaged in cross-border fighting with Iran, backed Hezbollah since the start of the Gaza war in October, declined to respond to questions about the detonations. Now, as we were speaking about the possible ways of having executed this massive blast, how possibly the Israeli intelligence carried out the pager blasts, we have some theories lined up for you. Let's take you through each one of them. Number one, Israelis sabotaged the pagers by entering the supply chain and providing faulty parts while it was being assembled. This is one particular theory that we are bringing to you, over which we'll in fact have a short brief discussion with our colleague Varghese Ibrahim, who's currently with us on the broadcast. Varghese, help us understand. There is a brief time period that's being cited that when these pagers were in fact brought in, but they were still not handed over, and it is the Hezbollah members who are now coming in to say that it is possible that the Israeli agency, the Mossad, in fact tampered with the device within this given time period.
Well, interestingly enough, there have been several theories that are going on how they have been able to carry on with this kind of sabotage that they have created, especially with figures coming in that almost 5,000 pages could have been sabotaged. Well, it could be that the Hezbollah did give out a large order to some company which they did not name, and at the same time, we must understand, of course, in the modern world, that a company does not, in fact, go ahead and manufacture the entire device on its own. So some of the parts are, in fact, sourced. So it could be possible that these parts that were sourced were, in fact, given to Israeli agents, and they could have in fact gone ahead and ensured that faulty parts were supplied so that these pages would be in fact taken into account. And once these faulty parts were there inside the pages, it could be used against the Hezbollah members who are using it. So this could be one of the theories that are being in fact floated by security experts, saying that the very fact is that the Israelis have entered the supply chain with regard to the components that are given to the pagers, and that is where probably the tampering could have taken place.
Right, Varghese. Let's move on to our second theory, in fact, on the lines of which I asked you this very question. Israelis sabotaged the pagers when it was lying for 3 months with the Lebanese customs. This, Varghese, this also raises questions with regards to the security arrangements within the Hezbollah for their own members and for the people in Lebanon currently. What would you have to say about the possibility of this having taken place, wherein it was those 3-month period when the Mossad ended up maybe installing some sort of a device, explosive device, across these pagers, 5,000 pagers?
Well, that is also a probability that the Israelis have time for almost 3 months. Now, it has been claimed by Hezbollah that in their investigations, they have found that this shipment of pages was in fact lying, unattended to, and later it was kept on hold for almost 3 months. And during that 3 months, probably some intelligence network of the Mossad must have come to know about these pages, and that it would have resulted in the intelligence information being given to the Israeli command, and therefore they would have decided that this would be probably an attempt by the Hezbollah to carry on with some kind of an information warfare against that state, and also at the same time could result in communication that would be away from Israel's intelligence radar. So that could have resulted in them immediately acting on that particular ship, and probably 3 months was a long time for that shipment to be lying over there, and therefore the Israelis could have had a chance to in fact go ahead and tamper with the device there itself with their agents in Lebanon. This is another theory that has been quoted by the security experts.
Right, Verghese, let's move on to our next theory. High-level Israeli intelligence penetration right from the order for the pagers being given to its receipt, allowing sabotage to take place. This is also another point of concern, which is who might have in fact given this information to the Israelis with regards to such a massive order, such a big order for pagers.
That is the one thing that some of the Israeli security experts have said, that Hezbollah has been heavily intelligence infiltrated by Israelis, and this would have resulted in the person who's giving out the order from the Hezbollah, the person who got the order to supply it, or both of them in fact coming in from Israel's deep intelligence network, and that would have resulted in the conspiracy that we will in fact see over here. That is, the Hezbollah would have had a larger plan to have these pages in place, and therefore it was given to someone who would be an Israeli agent, and that Israeli agent would have handed over to someone who would be from the network itself, and therefore both of them conspired to ensure that this kind of a blast took place. So now Hezbollah is in fact going ahead and investigating as to whether that could be one of the factors that would have led to this huge compromise, that is the heavy presence of Israeli agents within its rank and file.
Right, Verghese. Theory 4 for our viewers out there. Pager software was corrupted with Israeli malware that was timed to go off. Another given theory that we are looking at here, Verghese, is the fact that pagers in general use quite an outdated software. At this given point, what are the chances of this very software having been hacked into by the Israeli malware?
That is a possibility that, since, as you rightly pointed out, the software is quite outdated, there's a high possibility that a malware was installed in it and was timed to go off at a certain time. So it is akin to a digital kind of a time bomb that was planned out, and therefore this malware wouldn't have been detected at all until it's supposed to go off, and would have resulted in the kind of the heat runaway that we have seen on the battery being overcharged and immediately blowing off. So that could be also one of the factors that could have resulted in this huge operation.
Right, and the last but not the least, ladies and gentlemen, Israeli agents acted as a third party to source pagers that were compromised and given to Hezbollah. This is also another angle that's being investigated into. But I guess this brings us to the question that if, given this is the scenario, the last scenario is what played out, in that case there is an entire company that is also involved, a third party company that's also involved. Though Apollo Gold has said that it's not them, there's a European company which uses their name, their brand name, to produce pagers.
So that is one theory that is going on, that the orders which were given from Hezbollah to Israeli intelligence agency infiltrated companies. Now, it is possible that Hezbollah did not give out huge orders to just one company. It could be that they could wanted to source it from different suppliers, and that could have resulted in a situation that we see right now, where some of the orders were in fact in the hands of these companies that could have had heavy Israeli intelligence presence, and they would have sent it as an opportunity to, in fact, hit at the rank and file of Hezbollah. So the third parties would have sourced it, tampered with it, and would have given the tampered pages to the Hezbollah, and it was easily distributed among its rank and file, not only in Lebanon, but across the place.
Right, Verghese, thank you for bringing us in-depth details with regards to how each of these scenarios might have played out. Whatever the scenario may be, it definitely doesn't seem to be like a plan that just got made or a very unplanned explosion. It seems to be quite a well planned and well executed given attack that we see from this pager explosion in Lebanon. Well, we at News 9 are consistently tracking all the latest updates with regards to this given story.